and this is Eric Lassard with your Entrepreneur Breakfast. And today I am joined in the studio with one of the world's best runner, and also one of the persons who ran around the world. Yes, it is Tony Mangan. And how are you today, Tony?
Good morning, Eric. I'm great. I'm feeling really good. Your dad, Peter, he just gave me a wonderful massage in Revitalised in Chapel Lizard in Dublin. My goodness, and I'm really revitalised this morning.
That is great. And how are you? Actually, when people tell you that it's cold outside, as in Ireland, it's still not summer yet. It's spring. And you have run around North Pole, basically. What do you tell them?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm just back from the North Pole just 2 weeks ago. I did an interview with you a couple of weeks ago, and the listeners may have remembered that I mentioned that I just ran around the world. That is, I just put a backpack on and ran for 4 years, 50,000 kilometres. Now, my main sponsor for that was an Irish man called Richard Donovan, and he has a business called Polar Running Adventures, and his flagship race was the North Pole Marathon. And when I finished my world run in October at the finish line of the Dublin Marathon, Richard was there to greet me with a voucher for free entry into the North Pole Marathon. So people might be wondering, what is this North Pole Marathon? Well, it's, as it says on the can, it's right up on the North Pole, just about 90 degrees, right at the top of the world. There's no actual permanent landmass there. The marathon was actually taking place on a floating floe of ice, and it was at a Russian scientific base in a place called Borneo. And about a month before the marathon actually took place, there was absolutely nothing there. There wasn't even a base camp. So the first thought, he actually parachuted in Russian troops, and with a JCB digger, and he flattened out a course and then put up the base camp. So the North Pole Marathon racer Richard Donovan is a friend of these people. So he has a race on every year. Just check out the NorthPoleMarathon.com. So he actually he flew us in. There's athletes from all over the world, and 45 of us all together. So I was one of these fortunate athletes that was running in the race. It was pretty cold, between minus 30 and minus 41. Now, I was one of the last runners to finish, so and the wind was really picking up. It was a cold wind, serious wind chill factor. So I suspect when I finished, it was probably closer to minus 50. But my goodness, what an experience! No sign of any polar bears though. But actually, a week after we finished the race, there were some polar bears sighted there. But it was an incredible adventure. It was running in the North Pole.
Okay, and when you landed, what was your first impression?
How cold it was getting off the charter plane, and oh my goodness, and where was the base camp, and I was looking for it because they had some heaters in there, and they had big marquee tents, 11 in the tent, and there was a canteen there with heaters. So it was just to have a look around. It was like the Nebraska prairies, flat as a pancake but white. It was a surreal experience, to be honest with you, to be at the top of the world.
So, and how was the air? Was it fresh, or was it a great, refreshing feeling?
It was a refreshing feeling, very, very fresh. Sharp cold. Yeah. My goodness, it was a wonderful experience. Some of the my clothing sponsor is a company called UVU, and there was about 6 athletes altogether running with UVU. So to be honest with you, I wasn't terribly cold because the clothing is so good. I was tested in polar conditions. On my feet, I just wear one pair of woolen socks, provided by Ash in Run Logic down in Temple Bar. They were really, really warm, but on my hands I had about 3 or 4 pairs of gloves. Also, I used the heating pads, hand foot warmer pads. They're like a tea bag. You shake them up and they get warm, and you just put them inside inside in your shoe or inside in your glove, and they keep you warm. They're really brilliant. I was slow because, to be honest with you, I was still tired from my run around the world, and I've had other issues going on that my preparation wasn't really great. My mum was sick. I just finished my world run 5 months ago, so the last 5 months I was spending some quality time with my mum, because during my world run she was diagnosed with cancer. So she died just before I departed for the North Pole. She was just buried, just the last burial day before the flight, and so I wasn't even sure if I would be able to go on it. But anyway, I guess in many ways my mum was looking after me. She really wanted me to do this, and so I dedicated my North Pole Marathon to my mum. She gave me my strength, a very, very strong woman. But many of the other runners there, they had problems. Their goggles were freezing to their face, and they couldn't pull them off, because obviously you rip your skin off. And so you can hear I have a little bit of a cold. But I just seemed to get around okay. I was going at a nice steady pace. What did I wear? My upper torso. Also, I had a kind of a woolen base layer, and then another kind of a light top, UVU top on top of that, and a UVU windbreaker. And in my bottoms I just had leggings, which were windproof. So they were really brilliant. And I had some Gore-Tex waterproof shoes, which were fantastic. I didn't have a single drop of moisture on my feet when I finished. So it was really just a mind over matter. I wasn't really trained for it, but I really wanted to do it. And one thing I've learned in life is, if you really, really, really want to do something, no matter how difficult it is, you'll find a way. The only real difficult things I think in life are maybe being an astronaut. I don't think I'm going to be cut out for that. I don't think I'm going to date in this world, but I've come to a bit of a compromise. Maybe if I met a really nice woman, I'd be walking on air.
Okay, now we're gonna have to take a quick music break, and then we're gonna be back on track. And your favorite music, your second favorite music is "Run for Home" by who?
Lindisfarne.
Lindisfarne. Okay, enjoy. And good morning, and you are back on air with the Z-Hub Online Radio, and I'm joining the studio with Tony Mangan, And of course, this is sponsored by The Storybus. For more information, please go to www.thestorybus.com. So, Tony, what was your experience in this run?
What did I learn from it?
Yes.
To be honest with you, running in the North Pole was a great lesson in living in the moment. Just looking around, seeing how pristine the area was, how beautiful, how unpolluted. Why rush? It was just, why think of the future? Why think of the past? It was just a wonderful experience, a wonderful lesson, and how wonderful it is living in the moment.
Okay, and Tony, when you saw it, did it remind you of something?
When I saw the North Pole, did it remind me of anything?
Yeah.
No, not really, because I've never been to the North Pole before. So I had no concept really, but it was just an amazing place. I thought there might be some polar bears there, but that's actually one precaution the race takes. That because obviously polar bears are the only creature are not scared of man. They actually track man down just for the snack. But the race was actually set on 3.5 kilometre laps, 12 laps for the marathon, and there were actually marshals going around with shotguns, not to kill it, just to put it to sleep, obviously, because it's their habitat, it's not ours. So it's just a precaution. And actually, a week after the race was finished, and when we were all back home, we got a report from the Russian scientists emailed the race director to say that there were some polar bears spotted, and I actually have some pictures of polar bears that were in the base camp that we were in on my Facebook page, Tony Mangan, or on the North Pole Marathon Facebook page. There's a lot of pictures on those Facebook pages.
Wow, Tony, now that is amazing. Did you see any other creatures beside those very tall, scary polar bears?
No creatures, no. Just maybe when the race was over, one or two drunken runners. Maybe that was the closest I came to creatures. And I guess they deserve to let their hair down, frozen hair. Yeah.
Wow. And did you see any penguins?
No, I didn't see any penguins. No, we probably a little bit too far away from the ocean.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
And when you saw the polar bears, did you want to go up and give them a nice bear hug?
No, I didn't see them. There was none when we were there. But a week after we left, we saw there was pictures. They were spotted by the scientists at the base, and they just emailed pictures to us. So they weren't there when we were there. To be honest with you, I don't know what I would have done had I seen any on the course. To be honest with you, it would have been pretty scary. I don't think I'd be stopping to take photographs. That's an interesting thing. I don't think any of the runners took any photographs during the race, because when you take off your gloves, you got to take a photograph with you're exposing your fingers, and it was pretty dodgy because only took 15, 20, 30 seconds. There were some issues where people took off gloves just to get a snack out of their pocket, and they had problems with frozen fingers, but it worked out okay. There was actually a medical tent with heating in it and snacks that many of the runners stopped for at the end of each 3.5 kilometre lap.
Wow, so I bet that the polar bear said, "Oh, here come the tourists again."
Those crazy people, leave them alone. Yeah, they only came when we were gone. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just that time of the year. I guess it's summer. We're going to be seeing people walking as penguins here.
Yeah. I didn't see any penguins, though, unfortunately.
Oh, that's sad. But I'm sure that if you would have taken a nice selfie with them.
Ah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind taking a picture with a selfie. I'd be a little bit scared to take one with a polar bear, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to get a close-up photograph of a polar bear. But no, you don't feed the polar bears, or they'll feed on you.
Okay. Well, Tony, I think that now I can see on our time that we're running out of time, so we're going to have to finish. Thank you so much. It was great to have you on air, and please do remember that this radio is sponsored by the Storybus, and everything that was made possible was made by the Storybus. So a big thank you to them, And most of all, if you'd like to know more information about the Story Bus, please pop on to the website called www.thestorybus.com. Hope to see you there. Bye!
Thank you, Eric.